Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode. We're heading into week 5. And as the great Chuck Morgan would say, it is SEC football time in Texas. Chuck, love you. Boys, we're in the SEC season now. We are taking on Mississippi State, who is coming into Austin with their tail tucked between their legs like they've been beaten, taken to a shelter, and are begging for somebody to give them some loving. And Texas is not here to do it. So, what do you guys got for this coming up game?
Yeah, I mean, we looked over it and kind of up and down. You look at this Mississippi State team; it's hard to find a whole lot of bright spots on the season for them. Losing Chapin for the season, he was actually having a decent season when he went out too, statistically wise. I know the team wasn't doing too well, but starting a true freshman on the road in DKR is going to be tough for them. They have 3 running backs that have been getting a decent amount of carries, so. I don't know, man. There's not a whole lot of bright spots to look on this Mississippi State team, but we can't take anybody lightly in SEC play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's another tune-up game. We are pretty thin at running back right now, so I'm interested to see the difference in the game plan and how we attack them. I want to see PK really get some revenge on Jeff Lebby after OU game last year. So a lot of things to look forward to, but I don't feel like it's a big challenge for us. The one that I was kind of excited to see Blake Shapen, just because I remember watching him at Baylor, and I really liked the way he played. But now that's not a factor in the game anymore. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, he is out for the season. Mississippi State is going to be coming in at 1-3 on the season. Their one win against Eastern Kentucky was 56-7 for their first game of the season. Then lost to Arizona State, really lost to Toledo, and then really lost to Florida, who is not a good football team. I was watching the Florida game last week, and the one thing I did notice that I'm really interested in is even when they played Florida, I noticed both teams were just really after every play getting into each other, especially the first quarter. Like it got chippy quick. I saw the Gator Chomp open early for Mississippi State. They had to be early because they weren't doing anything after the first quarter. But that's the one thing I'm going to be looking at is because SEC or with the SEC play coming up is Mississippi State is the first SEC team to face Texas this year, and they are going to feel like they've got to show what SEC football is because it's a different breed of football, and this is not the team to do it. But they're still going to come in and try. They're going to try and get the players off their game. That's the only way they're going to win is getting inside their heads. And so Texas is just going to have to limit the stupid penalties, make sure they're keeping their composure throughout the game. They'll be able to talk smack by the second quarter. Just get through the first quarter and it'll be just fine. But yeah, I'm interested to see still who's actually going to be starting QB for Texas as well as Mississippi State. So what Texas wise, who you guys think is going to start? Who do you want to start is I guess the best question to ask. Who do you want to start?
I mean, I think my answer is the same. Want and who I think it's going to be Arch.
With that being said, Manning Ewers is apparently 80 to 85% healthy right now.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective. I know going into SEC play and like just getting more comfortable. I mean, Quinn's comfortable, but just like more practice is like the thought process. But I would rather him just heal up completely, get the rest in, and he'll be ready for Oklahoma. So I want Arch, and I also think that's the way they're going to go.
Yeah, I do feel like it would probably go that way too. But I mean, I would like to see Quinn get in there and just kind of get some of his timing back because that's going to be tough to bounce back after missing a couple of games and then you're just immediately thrown into the Red River game. I know we got a bye week and stuff too, but just as far as game speed and everything like that, I would hope that Quinn would come in for at least a couple of series, but I get you're really not trying to hurt the guy and make things worse for the season. So I think in the long run, you got to look at it as this is a game we can win with Arch, and I think you got to go with Arch as the starting quarterback and just let Ewers rest and kind of take that for what it is with the whole timing thing and being a little rusty potentially going into that OU game.
So selfishly, I want Quinn in just because I need the Heisman run. I don't think this is going to affect his Heisman run necessarily with this game, but I would like to see him come in, and his parameters would be no more than a half or 3 touchdown lead. You come in, you get a 3 touchdown lead. Let's just hand the ball off to Arch at that point and then move forward. Kind of depends on how healthy he really is. We still don't really know anything about it, of where he's at. The only thing that I've seen is about 80-85%. But the other question remains, if Arch does start and you get to the first quarter, second quarter, and some miracle Mississippi State is close in the game, do you ride Arch still, or do you let Quinn come in for a little bit, get control of the game, and then let Trey Owens come in and finish the game out?
I feel like that's a bad look. I feel like it's a real bad look.
Well, I mean,
struggling, and then you pull, like, Quinn wasn't healthy enough to start, but crap, go ahead and go in there, get us back on top, and then we'll coast after that.
Well,
I think they'd ride Arch out for a while with it, even if it was close. I think Sark knows we have a good enough football team, even if Arch has a bad game, that we still have enough pieces around him that could carry him, even if it was a sloppy win. But yeah, that would be a tough blow for his image if he struggled and then we put Quinn in, in the second quarter just because we're tied or we're down a touchdown or something like that. So
hear me out. Like we said,
I hear you.
We're down running backs right now. We need to get them healthy. We get to the fourth quarter. It's a 10-10 game. Do you ride Arch?
What world are we talking about?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Crazier things have happened. I mean, yes. I'm just saying. Look at.
Yeah.
We know how this game's really going to go. I'm trying to just figure out like scenarios to actually talk about because we know what's actually going to happen. But you get to that fourth quarter, it's 10-10. Do you pull Arch and put Quinn in, or do you let it ride? With number 1 on the line.
I think you let it ride.
I think you let it ride.
No,
I mean, if you get to game time and you're saying that Quinn's not ready to go, I don't think you throw him in. I think it'd be really irresponsible to throw him in for the stakes of being number 1 or something like that if he actually wasn't healthy enough to go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all right, fine. I guess I'm out of my fantasy world. I tried to make this week interesting, and that is all I have.
Dude, it's weird. I'm still in such a it's been a long decade of Texas football. It's weird to feel confident in our team where I'm not having to second guess what could happen in this game. I'm like,
right.
It's a weird perspective to have after the last 10 years, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
coming into a game confident.
Exactly. Coming into SEC play, with almost the biggest spread. So 40.5 Alabama had a couple years ago. That was the largest spread against Vanderbilt, I believe. Other than that, this is the third largest spread in the SEC play that's ever happened.
What's it at currently right now?
It's currently at 37.5. Started at 38. They're currently at 37.5. So it'll be, I don't know. It's just crazy. We're living in a fantasy world right now. Texas football is finally back more than ever. No one can say a word. OU fans are worried about their own problems right now. They can't even try and dog on us. Now, as bad as their team is after the Red River, the only thing they have to root for is anybody we're playing because they're not going to have a shot at anything here pretty soon. So talk a little bit about the last week's game real quick. Van Buren came in at the end of the game. He did 7 catches for 13 attempts on passing with 100 yards, average 7.7. Johnny Daniels rushed 14 carries, 77 yards. And then you got Kevin Coleman, who's one of their bigger – I mean, realistically, Mississippi State is going to be running the ball. They don't have, especially with a new quarterback coming in, they don't have a lot of option. So they're going to be running the ball a bunch, and then they have a tight end, Kelly. I don't even remember how to say his name. Akaria. That's how I'm going to say it. He's going to be their number one kind of go-to guy. That's really who they look for. They have big plays in them. So that's going to be one of the things I'm looking at is, I mean, yes, they're a bad football team, but they still have SEC players there, and they've got speed enough to break out, especially on long runs. So I think Sark's going to have to. It'll be a good test for us on that, just to see kind of how we cover that. I do think they're going to score a touchdown this week at some point. It's kind of, but they're so bad. They're so depleted. Their entire team. I think they were. I was listening to on Texas, and they said there's one player that would take to start for Texas off their entire roster.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's Coleman. Like, and that's still an iffy pick there. So we'll kind of see what they got. They haven't. Their defense is atrocious. I don't know. It's going to be
they've caught the injury bug too, man. That chart that I was telling you about. Like looking down their lineup, like that's crazy to have that many questionable and out players already at this point in the season.
Mm-hmm. What else you guys got for this week? Who is there anybody you're looking to branch out this year or this game and kind of see what they got? Because I mean, we talked about running backs. Like it's going to be iffy to see who actually comes out on that end.
I mean, that is something that worries me. Blue's health, if he can be like the bell cow, because I mean, on this depth chart, we already obviously C.J. Baxter and Christian Clark were out preseason. Then Wisner is listed as questionable. Colin Page? Velton Gardner is out, and Colin Page, who was a walk-on, is doubtful. So that literally leaves Blue and Gibson, and Gibson's been limping the last 2 weeks. So I'm really nervous about Blue getting all the work and what that could mean for the future. So I don't know what the game plan is. It's interesting.
Yeah. You did freeze a lot in the middle of that.
Yeah.
and so you got, but we're going to roll with it. Hey, it happens. John, do you have something to add on that?
I mean, I think one thing I'm kind of looking forward to seeing in this game is this is a little bit different running back room than we've seen this year. I mean, other than outside Michigan, just seeing the defensive line, see if they're still holding up to what they need to do, just the interior defensive line against that run, because they rushed the ball 56 times versus Florida. So, I mean, they're going to keep rushing even if they're down in the game. They're not going to make a freshman quarterback sling it around 45 times. I just don't anticipate that happening. They're gonna feed these running backs and try to get something going. And can our defensive line, hold up to that? So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, there's going to be another interesting key this week in the next week or two, and I'm going to skip away from the game for a second to talk about the NIL chaos that is now ensued. UNLV's Matt Sluka has decided that he wants the red shirt now because an assistant coach, when he was being recruited, promised him $100,000 to come to UNLV and has said, I have never seen that money. Therefore, I would like the red shirt. I'm entering the portal at the end of the season. We are now to the point of why I did not want the NIL to be full blown like it is. Something has got to change. Now their running back has also come out and said, I'm also going to redshirt and enter the transfer portal. He came from NC State. So now we've got this NFL has merged now into college football where you're going to pay me or I'm not going to come play. And with this game for Texas right now, I'll be interested to see because Sark now has decisions to make on redshirt guys. Like we've had so many players playing in these last 4 games that now it's going to get to a point to where, okay, who are we going to start sitting out this season and redshirt them and save them for next season. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions coming up pretty soon. And it'll be interesting to see who those guys are that we are actually going to sit after everybody that's been playing.
Yeah. 2 notes on the UNLV thing. The running back I saw on social media earlier today that he put out a post saying that his was not NIL related, that he wasn't ever promised any NIL and hadn't received anything for it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's – I mean, I would assume it's because the quarterback and he's just assuming the health of the team is going to go down.
Right.
And then also the assistant, supposedly, I just saw that Brendan Marion's name got released as the person who had promised NIL, who is their OC. So those are 2 just like details that I heard from it. And I mean, as far as the story that I know so far, I'm on the player side, but it is weird. Like, I don't like that it's a facet of the game now. But if you are promised something there and you transfer there and they're not putting up their end of the bargain, like, I think I'd probably be on the same page, personally. Where are y'all thoughts on it?
Man,
it's part of the game now, so we have to accept it.
No, it's not. I mean, it is part of the game, but at the same time, like, Congress has got to step in. It is political time right now. I need to see somebody on the ballot. Yeah, hey, look it. Somebody's got to be on the ballot that's saying, look, I'm going to come in and we're going to fix this. Because at some point, it's literally going to be NFL all over again. Like, I can't college football is partially for your education. Yeah. That is a reason for college football. Now that is out the window. Education is gone. It doesn't matter. So that's kind of the problem that I have with it is it's like, a lot of these guys are going to chase money. They're going to be done and they're going to spend all that money. They're not going to get drafted. They're not going to make the NFL because it doesn't happen all the time. Like there's only a handful of people that are actually going to the NFL and they're all going to go into this mindset of, okay, I'm going to go to the NFL. I'm going to make a bunch of more money. Let me blow all this money I'm making in NIL because they're college kids. They don't know how to save money. None of us do. Like it's going to get to a point to where you're going to have all these guys trying to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their life because they didn't get a college education for free that they could do. They're spending all their money and it's all gone. And now they don't know what to do. They're homeless on the streets.
Was that any different than when they weren't getting paid and they still didn't make it to the NFL? I don't know what they're going to do?
I 100% think so, yes, because there was a point of actually getting – like there was a big point of scholarships. Like scholarships was a big thing. Now you've got all these scholarships. They're going to the transfer portal. They don't care about the scholarship. I've got a scholarship here, but I'm going to enter the transfer portal. I'm going to give that scholarship up. So the education doesn't matter anymore.
True. Yeah, the transfer portal aspect of it.
So I think NIL should be associated with a GPA of some point.
Yeah.
I think that's how you fix that a little bit. I'm running for office now. I just came up with that. I'm running for office.
Make college football great again.
we got to figure something out because at the end of the day, these are all kids. Like, yes, they're good at football, but not everybody makes it. You get one injury in your career, then what? Like that's the other thing of this. It's like, yes, you do need to get paid. And I think there's a fine line. Like I don't agree with all the colleges making all the money off jersey sales and their name and likeness. I can get that portion, but they took it to a point to where it's like, oh, I've got the name and likeness, but hey, we're going to have Lamborghini sponsor you. We're going to have Porsche sponsor you.
Hey now. Hey.
Look, I'm just saying. Like it's getting out of hand. Like they're using it as a now they're using it as a point to where it used to be players got paid behind the scenes. Now they're blatantly open with it. Like, and it's also ruining college football in this sense of now all these teams are begging for money. You go back to Tennessee, look at Tennessee. They're raising everything 10%.
Yeah.
For their ticket prices. Like college football's tickets are going to be more expensive. Like you've got all these other schools that can't keep up, so they're not going to compete anymore. You can say bye-bye to ever thinking about winning a championship again. Yeah. And now it's got this power conference of these elite teams, and you may be able to squeak in the playoffs, maybe able to squeak in a win or two, but after that, you're not doing anything. Like it's realistically like maybe 10 teams a year that are going to even have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope with the NIL stuff, man. I mean, we felt this coming because of how backwards and corrupt the NCAA was for so long. So we knew this was going to flip on its head whenever NIL, but it's a slippery slope if you don't get it under control now. Because, I mean, how much does that suck for that team, man? UNLV was one of those teams that people thought that they maybe had a shot at being a Cinderella. and then all of a sudden your main guys go down. And it's kind of like, I mean, there's two sides to every coin, but I get that he's frustrated because he's not getting paid. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it's a business now. That's kind of how like these guys are looking at it now. It's like you're not fulfilling your promises, and I'm doing the work here. You got to pay me. So I don't know, man. It's like we said before. There's got to be some kind of cap. There's got to be maybe like you said GPA or something like that. I don't know, because if it keeps going this way, it's a slippery slope.
The cap for sure has to happen. What do you got, Seth?
It was something that I'm just confused about with it. Like when it all happened, I remember there was always a lot of conversations of like NIL could happen, but the school wasn't involved. Like the coaches couldn't really talk about it. There was like videos of like A&M staffers like talking about NIL stuff, and like all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's not supposed to be doing that. It like went viral. But now all of a sudden like these situations are like, oh, this assistant promised me this much, or the school promised me this much, and I'm really confused how that line blurred already.
Yeah, wasn't that Jimbo?
Like, the schools can be like, hey, NIL, you can talk to these people, and we've set it up for you to go talk to them. But no, the schools, are they actually handling it now?
Yeah, I don't know, because wasn't that the big thing with Jimbo and Saban?
That
was that big conversation that they were having. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things. I think it should be that way. But I mean, at the end of the day, like here's the other thing that happened. Dave Portnoy, I don't know if you saw this today, came out and said, I am going to pay for Michigan's 5-star quarterbacks, basically. Like, he's like, fine, if I want Michigan to be good, I will pay for a 5-star quarterback to come to Michigan. This is That's where crazy. It's going now.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It is very out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas can play that game too, though.
Yeah,
well,
not that I like it, but Texas can play.
But that's the problem. Is like I'm not worried about Texas. Like we got the money. Like, there's plenty of teams that have the money, but it's all of these other like NC State, Syracuse, Clemson. I don't even think can keep up with that. Auburn. Like you could go list after every team in the Big 12. Like every team in the Big 12 would not be able to compete with that money.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to even the playing field somehow, man, because it's just going to keep getting worse. Like you said, it's going to be 12 teams, 12 schools that have the money, that have everything, and the rich are just going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. Like there's got to be some kind of balance to this because, I mean, how long has the NIL been in place? This is what, year 3 for this? And we're already running into this. You're already seeing – times 10 in the transfer portal from last season. I mean, it's just like if it keeps going this way, you're going to have guys that are going to do this constantly. I mean, there was a kid from USC that did the same thing. He announced that he's going to redshirt and sit out the rest of the year. One of their main defensive linemen apparently sit out for the year and do the same thing, and move on because his team lost to Michigan. Do you think he would have done that if he wouldn't have lost to Michigan? You know what I'm saying? It's just it's such a hard thing that the NCAA has got to figure it out quickly before the things get out of hand completely.
Well, I'm running for office now, so vote for me for collegiate NIL diplomat.
You got my vote, man.
All right, that's off my soapbox for that. Anything else for the game this week? No.
We'll be out there tailgating.
We will be out there tailgating. Probably go out there. I think in live, probably 11 o'clock on Saturday. We'll be talking more of this stuff. I want to kind of like make that now like a laid back type thing. Just kind of like coming up with questions, topics of just like random stuff, like like the NIL stuff we just had. Like I think that's going to be more beneficial on game day of just random stuff, not necessarily talking. We can talk about all the games coming up here in this one, and then just have some fun and enjoy the big Saturday coming up. So nothing else from there. Let's what other games to watch this week do you guys have? Let's start in the 11 o'clock slot. We're going to pick one game each from the 11 o'clock slot that you think is going to be a good matchup. Do you guys have that pulled up? If you don't, I can do that right now. I can go. I need to know.
Go for
I
it.
got one.
I just pulled a curveball on all of you. I can
Yeah.
see. I can see
You
all
have
of
it
you
already?
like.
Nah.
Yes, I do. I have everything pulled up. But you guys, Jono, go ahead.
It's kind of it's one of my picks too, but the BYU Baylor game.
Okay.
It's an interesting game for me to see. Baylor looked pretty good last week. BYU's looked really good this season, but you're sitting there with Baylor being the favorite in that game in Waco. So obviously they don't trust that BYU is for real, even though they're sitting at 22. So that's one of my picks with BYU coming in and taking down Baylor. A little preview there, but as far as 11 o'clock games go, that one's kind of interesting to me because the line on that I guess the betting line just doesn't trust that BYU is actually legit.
Yeah. Seth, there's one more easy one.
I mean, I'm gonna go. I mean, it's the very first one on the sheet here, but Ole Miss Kentucky. I'm excited to see Ole Miss actually get some. I mean, Kentucky struggled 2-2 with their season, but I mean that's the toughest game that Ole Miss has played so far, and I've been optimistic about their offense this season, and to actually see them play a game that's notable. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be on my TV for sure. See if they're real. I don't know if Kentucky can necessarily like claim to be real, but Ole Miss will get tested a little bit at least.
So there's actually two more that I think are. Sorry, I just realized it's 7:05 and the Cowboys come on in 10 minutes, and I need to get my
I was
sleeper
wondering
pick
about
in.
that.
I need to get my sleeper pick in real quick. But the first game is going to be K-State, Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually three that are actually decent, so we're just going to go over those. K-State, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State and K-State both lost last week. As we talked about, the Big 12 is always going to be just a cannibal league. Like they always just decide they're just going to kill each other, and it's going to figure out who comes out on top. I think Oklahoma State actually takes this one over. Then you've got your Michigan, Minnesota. I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to give my pick later. And then, because that is one of my games. And then I've got the other game I want to watch is NC State, NIU. You've got your Cinderella.
Yeah.
Just came off a tough, close loss with Buffalo. NC State needs a win. They've been, beaten down. Did I pick that one too? Yeah, I did pick that one too. So I'm going to leave both of those. I'm going to leave both of those alone.
Teasers.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the 2:30 slots. Who you guys got on the 2:30 slots?
Go ahead, TJ.
God, I got to get my picks in.
I got Louisville, Notre Dame. Interesting game. If you look at Louisville, they've quietly had a really good season. Sure, they haven't played anybody too crazy, but they did beat Georgia Tech last week, which Georgia Tech had some hype for 1 week when they beat Florida State. But that'll be an interesting game. Notre Dame's favored by a touchdown. So in South Bend, 15 versus 16. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if Notre Dame can stay on the track and kind of keep bouncing back after that loss they handed.
Man, there's some good games in the slot.
There really are.
Yeah.
I was gonna take the Arkansas A&M game, but that's one of my picks, and TJ might want to talk about it instead. So, Colorado UCF, I think will be really fun. I am a Colorado hater for sure this season, and I would love to see UCF come at them. So, I'm excited about that one. Gus Malzahn's I like his offense. I think they're just going to run it really hard against Colorado. I'd like to see how they handle that.
I am excited about that Arkansas game, and I am going to talk about it because I decided to avoid this one this week because I knew you guys were going to think I'm just riding the Arkansas Razorbacks. However, Arkansas and A&M, A&M is Bowling Green. We saw how they were against Bowling Green. Arkansas is a cover team. The spread is 2.5 still. I believe it is. Let's see here.
So 5.5.
Oh,
A&M 5.5.
A&M's 5.5.
A&M's 5.5. It was 2.5. which is even better because I have Arkansas winning that game. It's not my pick for this week. However, Arkansas is winning this game. I'm just letting you know.
That's why I didn't touch that game. I was like, this has got to be one of TJ's picks of the
Yeah.
week right
Yeah.
Yeah, that that's I wouldn't say a mortal lock, but I will say a mortal lock. This is my mortal lock of the week. It's Arkansas beating Texas A&M.
I'm really excited about that game. I mean,
That's
they've played that game at Jerry Worlds every time. Don't they always play it when they meet in Jerry World?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yes,
feel like it's
that
always
is,
a really good game.
Yeah, it really is. Like typically it's semi-close. All right. Let's see. After the evening games. I'm going to go ahead and break out. This is not my game, but I'm going to go ahead and break out the big one. You got Georgia. You got Alabama. The first thing I noticed on this is the fact that tickets are only like the cheapest ticket you can buy there is $270. Okay.
Mm.
The Georgia Texas game is $470. It's the cheapest ticket you can buy. Even when Texas went to Alabama, they were more expensive than this. So it's kind of interesting to me. Georgia comes in -2 on the road. The over under is 50.5. I'm up in the air on this game.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one, man. I went back and forth with both teams. It just being in Tuscaloosa, being a night game, we've been there, we experienced it. It's a fun atmosphere, but I don't know, man. This is a tough game. This is not one of my picks, but I would have to roll with Georgia if I had to take somebody. I just think that Alabama's still kind of searching for an identity at times when I've watched them offensively. And Milroe's a good quarterback, but I feel like if you can contain him, make him beat you with his arm, he's inconsistent still. So I think Georgia's defense is gonna lock up Alabama a little bit here.
Georgia by 40, man. I want
Georgia
Georgia
by
to wipe the. No, I'm not picking 40,
I was like,
but Georgia by a million. Okay, I hope they wipe the floor in Alabama. Just tamp down all the Alabama stuff. They're killing it on the recruiting trail. Georgia needs to shut that down right now, and they also need to just look phenomenal so that when we beat them in a couple of weeks, it's even better. So
Yeah,
it's a biased pick, but that's what I'm hoping for.
yeah, I think Alabama's going to win this. Milroe has that.
Oh,
Milroe has that in him. If he controls his throws and they continue to use the run like they have, the big thing is going to see. I mean, Carson Beck really hasn't shown us much yet. We haven't really seen
Yeah.
anything from him yet. So that's going to be the big thing for me is kind of where, I mean, he's going to be in a nursing home soon, trying to figure out what he's actually going to put out on the field. So I actually am going to take Alabama at home.
wow.
Yeah, I have a confident, like I would actually mortal lock my Arkansas and Alabama in a parlay. We're mortal locking both.
All right.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I'm in.
Bold strategy.
I'm in. Let's see. What are the games this night crew you looking? Oh, there's one that's going to be interesting.
Dude, this night slot is weird. There's some weird games.
Yeah, there's some weird games. I'm looking at South Alabama going into LSU.
Yeah.
That's an interesting game to me, man. I don't know, man. Major Apple
Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
LSU, I can see this game being close. I could totally see this game being close. And
20.5.
LSU sneaking it out at the end. I don't know, man. South Alabama's offense has been rolling lately, but that's kind of a random one. I didn't take the other ranked matchup there. I'll let somebody else do that.
Yeah, the ranked matchup's not necessarily the one that I'd be looking at. I mean, there's two that I find interesting. I'm like, which one am I going to watch? I mean, I guess they're different time slots. Florida State SMU, I think could be interesting. I mean, I feel like SMU's scrappy, and it'll just kind of be fun to see what they do against Florida State with the way that their season's going. But the one I'd probably be more excited about is Washington State, Boise State. I think that'll be a fun. Washington State's 4-0 right now. And Boise State's always good for a gut punch, so I think it'll be a good fight. It'll be a fun game.
So for me, it's the SMU Florida State. SMU coming off a big win against TCU, and I just want to see Florida State just get beat down. If you remember, SMU is my sleeper ACC champion. So yeah, I'm hitting heavy on SMU coming away with a big dub against the terrible Florida State.
I thought somebody would call out the Illinois Penn State game. That's why I didn't. I thought somebody would jump on that one. You got Illinois coming off a big win against Nebraska on the road. Now they're going to go on the road in Happy Valley. Is Penn State for real? I feel like Penn State really hasn't been tested. We've seen Penn State struggle versus Bowling Green.
They're 19.5-point favorites.
I know, man. They're heavy favorites in that game. So that's an interesting game to me because I feel like Illinois has looked pretty good so far this year. So that's an interesting night game.
Dude, did y'all watch a single snap of the Florida State Cal game last week?
No.
I did not.
I was going to say, no. I sat on the couch all day and watched college football, like on YouTube TV, 4 games going at a time, and I didn't watch a single snap of this game. I'm like looking at it right now, like, wait a second. I don't remember any of this happening.
Yeah.
The only play I watched of that was the play that you sent with the linebacker that was like about to tackle the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, and then turn around and ran away.
Run the opposite way. Like, what was going on there?
Wait, wasn't that from the Florida game?
I thought that was the Florida State game.
No, that was Florida.
That was Florida. Anyways, still hilarious.
Yeah.
Oregon playing UCLA. Oregon's going to dominate that. There were also the Colorado UCF game. I've been changing my picks left and right as we've been doing this because I had some like guarantees. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into picks for the week.
Okay.
Well, let's just continue to recap. Let's just,
okay. We know.
Yeah. So, dang, I didn't update this.
You didn't update it.
I didn't update it. No, don't worry. I know John knows because he went 0-3 last week. So let me just go ahead and change him to 3-9. Jono at 3-9. Seth, you are at 6. And did you go 1-2? You did go 1-2. You're at 6.
My picks were so bad last week.
6-6. And what in the what did I just do there? I am 7-5. So 7-5, 6-6, 3-9. We're going to start with Jono. We're going to let you, and just for the record, for future, because we do this on our spreadsheet, the loser of the week gets the first pick of any games. That's how we're going to do this going forward. That way you guys all have a fair shot.
Okay.
Because right now it's just a dominating form at this point. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just.
Boy, you think I'm going to copy your picks?
No, not copy, but I don't want to take the easy games for you. I need you to pick.
You didn't even
pick the games you want. I know. I'm trying. I'm working on it.
I already told one of my picks, so I'll just have that one be my first one. I got BYU over Baylor. Just think BYU is going to come in and get it done. I think Baylor's really defeated after that loss. That's the kind of loss that just breaks your back, derails the whole season, and your coach get fired at the end of the season. That's what that loss felt like watching that. So I got BYU in that game.
Dude, it's crazy what's happened to Baylor since winning the Big 12.
Yeah.
I know, man. That's crazy. Do you want me to go through all mine or just?
Yeah, go through all of them.
Okay. And then the other one I got Duke. I got Duke to cover versus North Carolina. I picked North Carolina last week, and that was a huge mistake. And that's a crap show there right now. with Mac.
Wow.
So shout out Malik Murphy,
Oh,
4-0,
boy.
top
Oof.
10 in touchdowns this season in the nation.
Oh,
So Malik Murphy, I'm glad he's doing well in Duke. I enjoyed watching him at Texas, but obviously their quarterback room was way too full for him to be here. So, but I like Duke continuing the trend. They're favored by 2.5. I got them to cover.
Keep
And
kicking
then,
Mac while he's down.
Yeah,
I don't know,
dude.
dude. I wrote it hard last week with Mac, thinking that he would dominate James Madison, and then they get 70 dropped on him.
Speaking
So,
of dominating, yes.
and then the last one I have is going to be Nebraska to cover over Purdue.
Okay.
Nebraska. I think Nebraska bounces back. Tough loss for them.
What's the spread on that?
Looking on
So-
it's -10.
So -10. So they got Nebraska to cover on that. Old Hudson Card is not doing so well there in
No,
Purdue.
he's
so,
not.
But now I got Nebraska to cover on that. So Nebraska, Duke, and BYU.
All right.
Okay.
Seth,
So now I'm next since I'm in second place.
Mr. Frozy guy, all episode.
Yeah.
Have I been fixing the whole time?
Yeah, the entire episode.
It's been, this is going to be great television. I'm probably going to try and just edit like an avatar over your face the whole episode.
I'm switching over to fiber in like the next week. So
Oh,
hopefully this won't be an
yeah.
issue. So
There you
fingers
go.
crossed. My picks. Hopefully they don't freeze. I'm going Miami. They are dominating, doing everything amazing right now. So I think they'll cover the 17.5 point spread against Virginia Tech. That was a pretty easy pick for me. Next is Michigan straight up against Minnesota. Michigan looked improved last week.
Hold on. That doesn't work. Michigan's 10-point favorite.
What
You can't
caveats
just-
do we have here?
You can't just go, oh, yeah, Michigan's going to win. They're -10.
They're going to cover it.
Okay, I'll go cover.
Okay.
cover.
Are you sure?
Are we setting the line that has to? How many point spread does it have to be to go straight
I
up?
thought we said 3 points last year.
I don't remember this conversation at all.
I mean, that's pretty cheap taking a 10-point favorite to just win the game.
I gotta get my point somehow, bro.
No, I'm not going to allow it. No, sir.
All right, well then I will tentatively take the 10-point spread. I have to think about it for a second, but and then I'm gonna take Arkansas plus 5.5 against A&M, and I think that's pretty. I'm excited.
Mortal
about
lock. Mortal lock.
that one. Mortal lock.
Alabama, Arkansas, parlay, mortal. All right. I am taking South Alabama plus 20.5 against LSU. Got the Major Applewhite going. We all want to root for old Texas boys. Got Major Applewhite in there. I have UCF over Colorado -14. And I have NC State -7. Gonna spoil NIU one more time. I think NC State's gonna bounce back a little bit, show a little bit of heart, and win by more than a touchdown against NIU. So those are my picks, plus my mortal lock. I get 25% for anybody that actually puts that bet in when they win. So
Where is the NC State game?
the NC State game is at NC State.
NC State.
Yeah.
Okay. -7. I like it. Good
Yeah.
picks.
Do you guys have anything else before we move on to score predictions for the Texas Mississippi State game?
I do
Anything-
not.
Predict.
Anything you're hiding, Jono? Because you clearly like, oh, we steal everything. So just want to make sure you got all your notes out of your hidden stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to picks. I was off by 1 point last week.
Not bad.
Beating Seth's 2 point off by the week before. So who we got? What do we got this week, boys? Let's see. Seth, I'll go with you.
I'm going to go 57-10. I think it's really similar to the last couple of weeks. Just going to handle business. We're going to allow 1 touchdown. I feel like I'm saying the exact same thing I said last week. But I feel like it's going to be really similar. So 57-10. Put it in the book.
We should start tallying up how close we are on these scores.
Okay.
See from week to week. Like I missed it by 6 points last week.
Yeah.
See how close. But anyways, I got 45-10 Texas. I think the offense will sputter at times a little bit with Arch in there, and then I see us giving up a late touchdown. But other than that, I think the game being in hand for the whole game.
So the previous games we played, we break out to an early lead, kind of coast on through at the end of the game. That is not going to be the case this week. Sark is about to enter SEC play. He wants to make a statement in the SEC. We are going to put the pedal down and run the throttle the entire game. Texas 62, Mississippi State 7. We are going to beat them like the old yeller he is. Take him out to the pasture, and we're going to take care of it. Mississippi State is done.
I hope you're right, man. I
do think we've been holding off now with the injuries and everything. I do think we go ahead and just press that gas pedal just a little bit with the SEC play and really make a statement as we go in. So
sounds great. I like it, man.
Anything else, Frozen Boy?
Am I still frozen?
I mean, the good news is we've been able to hear you the whole time.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been a problem. It's just been your weird face with that hat. It's been great for me. I've been able to listen to you. Maybe someone will comment below and tell us what was your favorite Frozen face of the podcast. Jono, you got anything else?
I'm good, man. Ready for the game Saturday. Looking forward
to it.
Perfect.
Well, with that being said, it's Cowboys time. Hopefully we're not down too much. I've been playing for 10 minutes since kickoff, so I haven't seen any scores pop up on my phone yet. So probably going to be an ugly Thursday night football game of 7-10 today. So we'll see. But other than that, we'll see you guys Saturday at 11 o'clock. Till then, hook 'em, boys.
Hook 'em.